The Mountain Within. Chapter 1: The Weight of the World. Lamar, a young man with eyes that held the weight of the world, sat on the edge of his bed, the worn mattress groaning beneath him. The walls of his small apartment seemed to close in, suffocating him in a silence that was deafening. He felt like a lone tree in a vast, barren desert, parched and yearning for a single drop of rain. He had always been a quiet, introspective child, preferring the company of books to people. His vivid imagination had been his refuge, a world where he could escape the harsh realities of his life. But as he grew older, the line between his imagination and reality began to blur. He found himself withdrawing further into himself, haunted by anxieties that clung to him like shadows. His mother, a strong, resilient woman who had raised him single-handedly, had noticed his struggles. She had tried to reach out to him, to offer him comfort and support, but he had pushed her away, building walls around himself that were thicker than any fortress. One day, the weight of his anxieties became unbearable. He felt like he was drowning in a sea of despair, his lungs burning for a breath of air that seemed forever out of reach. He had reached his breaking point. Chapter 2: The Diagnosis. The doctor's words echoed in his ears, each syllable a hammer blow to his already fragile sense of self. Generalized Anxiety Disorder. The term sounded foreign, clinical, yet it described the turmoil within him with chilling accuracy. Lamar felt a strange mix of relief and despair. Relief that there was a name for the monster that had haunted him for so long, despair that it was a monster he might have to carry with him for the rest of his life. He learned that his anxiety was not a sign of weakness, but a medical condition, a chemical imbalance in his brain. It was like having a faulty compass, always pointing in the wrong direction, leading him down paths of worry and fear. The doctor prescribed medication and recommended therapy. Lamar was hesitant at first, skeptical that pills and conversations could mend the shattered fragments of his mind. But he knew he couldn't continue living in the shadow of his anxiety. He had to fight back, to reclaim his life from the clutches of this invisible enemy. Chapter 3: The Climb Begins. Therapy was like climbing a steep, treacherous mountain. Each session was a step forward, a struggle against the gravitational pull of his anxieties. He learned to identify his triggers, the situations and thoughts that fueled his worries. He learned to challenge his negative thoughts, to replace them with more realistic, positive ones. It was a slow, arduous process, filled with setbacks and frustrations. There were days when he felt like giving up, like he was making no progress at all. But his therapist, a kind, patient woman with a calming presence, encouraged him to keep going. She reminded him that every small step, no matter how insignificant it seemed, was a victory in itself. Lamar also found solace in writing. He started a journal, pouring his thoughts and feelings onto the pages. It was like having a conversation with himself, a way to untangle the knots in his mind. He wrote about his fears, his hopes, his dreams. He wrote about the mountain he was climbing, the challenges he faced, and the strength he found within himself to keep going. Chapter 4: The Power of Connection. One day, during a group therapy session, Lamar met Sarah. She was a vibrant young woman with a warm smile and a contagious laugh. She was also battling her own demons, struggling with social anxiety. Lamar found himself drawn to her, her openness and vulnerability resonating with him. They started talking, sharing their experiences, their fears, their hopes. He found comfort in knowing that he wasn't alone, that others understood what he was going through. Their friendship blossomed, a delicate flower growing in the harsh landscape of their mental health struggles. They became each other's support system, cheering each other on, offering encouragement when the climb seemed too difficult. Sarah introduced Lamar to new experiences, gently pushing him out of his comfort zone. They went to museums, concerts, and even a poetry slam. Lamar found himself enjoying these experiences, his anxieties slowly receding into the background. Chapter 5: The Summit in Sight. As Lamar continued his journey of self-discovery and healing, he began to see the world in a new light. The colors seemed brighter, the sounds more vibrant. He started to appreciate the small things, the warmth of the sun on his skin, the laughter of children playing in the park. He realized that his anxiety, while a part of him, did not define him. It was a challenge, yes, but it was also an opportunity for growth. It had forced him to look inward, to confront his fears, to discover his own strength and resilience. He learned that vulnerability was not a weakness, but a strength. It allowed him to connect with others on a deeper level, to build meaningful relationships. He learned that asking for help was not a sign of failure, but a sign of courage. Chapter 6: Embracing the Journey. Lamar still had his bad days, days when the mountain seemed insurmountable. But he had developed coping mechanisms, tools to help him navigate those difficult times. He practiced mindfulness, focusing on the present moment, letting go of worries about the future. He exercised regularly, finding that physical activity helped to calm his mind. He continued to write in his journal, using it as a space to process his emotions and reflect on his progress. He had learned that recovery was not a destination but a journey. There would be ups and downs, twists and turns along the way, but he was no longer afraid. He knew that he had the strength to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Conclusion. Lamar stood at the summit of his mountain, the wind whipping through his hair, the sun shining brightly on his face. He looked back at the path he had climbed, the treacherous slopes, the deep valleys. He had overcome so much, faced his fears, and emerged stronger on the other side. He knew that the journey wasn't over. There would be new mountains to climb, new challenges to face. But he was ready. He had the tools, the support, and the self-belief to navigate whatever life threw his way. He took a deep breath, the crisp mountain air filling his lungs. He felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. He had faced his demons and emerged victorious. He had found his strength, his resilience, and his voice. Moral of the story. Lamar's story is a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. It's a reminder that mental health challenges, while difficult, are not insurmountable. With the right support, coping mechanisms, and a belief in oneself, it's possible to climb any mountain, to conquer any challenge. Lamar's journey also highlights the importance of seeking help. It's okay not to be okay. Reaching out to others, whether it's a therapist, a friend, or a family member, can make all the difference. Remember, challenges are not sent to destroy you. They're sent to promote, increase, and strengthen you. Embrace the journey, face your fears, and discover the strength within you.